Welcome to the Rock is George podcast. I'm your host, George Dionne. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to hit like, follow, or subscribe on the platform that you're listening to us on. You can also check out my work at the loudest.com on the planet, knac.com, for exclusive hard rock and heavy metal interviews, live show coverage, album reviews, and more. My guest for episode 215 is vocalist FREDRIK WERNER of the new Swedish melodic rock act, Daytona. Daytona's debut album, GARDER LA FLAMME, will be released on October 25th through Escape Music. And here's FREDRIK to tell you more about it. If I knew absolutely nothing about Daytona, how would you describe the band's music to me?
Yeah, the sound is very important for us. I mean, it basically is the melodic rock, the AOR, which we all who love this genre, we look to a specific sound from this era. But I think it has somehow trailed off from this sound a bit, and we try to stick to the true sound of melodic rock as it was done back then. if we can be a little bit nostalgic, comes down to the craft, how it's done, and in the songwriting as well. So it's very much I would like to describe it as a for true fans of the classic sound.
Now, FREDRIK, I known you from the bands Air Raid and OKUSARU, and to me as an outsider, Air Raid seems like Andy's band, and OKUSARU seems like Oz's band. Would you say that Daytona is your band?
Well, at least I've been a part of this from the start. That's the difference, I think. And it has started out very much as a band. So that's a difference. Of course, over time, when band members shift, there's often one driving force, as you described in the other cases. But as of now, it's a strong team. So we're looking forward to continue developing our sound based on our unique input. Well, from the start, this was Erik's from previously Misbehavior. He contacted me, and he had the majority of the songs written. So in that case, it was his project leading up to the band. But then we finished this product as a band, and we'll continue to work in that way.
And that question wasn't to diminish your contributions to any of those bands. Obviously, you're a very important part of Air Raid and OKUSARU.
Yeah, I like to have the role as a co-pilot as well. So someone to bounce off some ideas on. So it's a nice position, I think, for me.
Sure. You a lot less headaches. You come in, you sing the songs, and
Yeah.
you give it your little stamp.
Yeah. But maybe more so often also. You become very invested in the process.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about the debut album by Daytona. It's called GARDER LA FLAMME, and it comes out on October 25th through Escape Music. Did I get the title right?
Yeah, it's French, and I don't speak French either, so I don't know. Maybe you speak French. I'm sorry, but
Should, right?
yeah, I think that's somehow somewhat correct.
It's probably Garder La Flamme.
Yeah, something like that.
So you said that the album was pretty much written when you came on board with Daytona, but I would imagine that you had some input, looking at the songs.
Erik had 10 tracks, I think, from the get-go, and we were tossing them around. I believe one or two came along in the process, and then we had to boil it down in the end. But it was a lot of arranging. The lyrics, of course, was written as we went. When Erik first contacted me, it was 10 good demo songs. And that's what I felt like I need to get on board this. It's so in my bag, and it's at the same time does not really interfere with the music, the output from OKUSARU or Air Raid. It's its own thing in a way.
Let's talk about some of the songs. Let's talk about your first single that came out, Where Did We Lose the Love? Reminds me of a Lost Foreigner style song, something in that vein, maybe a little Survivor-ish.
Yeah, some say a bit Magnum as well, I've heard. But of course, yeah, those bands are all very influential for both me and Erik. So those references I guess, will always be there when listening to what we do.
The follow-up single looks like Rain. You got 24,000 views on YouTube. Not long after it was released. Was this a bit of a shock to you guys, or was it more validation for you?
I don't know really what to expect. Really, I'm not I'm not a pro in that department. How the marketing side of things, but I guess the first single we were dipping our toes a little bit in the water, and people got noticed, and then of course it's a bit of the word spreads in the the forums and on Facebook, in different groups connected to this kind of music. But that's just a little bit of people. That's not we want to expand outside this realm of AOR and melodic rock fans, which is they are our the hardcore fans, but we would like to expand even broader than that. So it was a good response.
Slave to the Rhythm got an even better response.
Yeah.
It's over 37,000 views. Plus, you had a music video. Now, this video looks pretty flawless, kind of a throwback to the old 80s videos of being in a warehouse.
Yeah, it's a big kind of a big production. Very cool venue as well. High ceiling. We had a sky lift. So you can get that big production feel to it.
Even as perfect as it is, I would imagine it's a lot of work behind the scenes to make it look so perfect.
We had a great crew working with us. The filmmaker Alfredo is super talented. So it's all thanks to the crew we had with us. It went really smooth.
So I feel like there's a story behind this album cover with the blue cityscape in the background and the exploding head. I sort of get Mr. vibes, because I believe their album was Welcome to the Neighborhood, and it was very similar in that, with the red and the blue, and your first song is Welcome to the Real World.
Yeah, that's a great album. Great album. One of the worst album covers in history, I think. with that. I don't know what it is. There's a horse there somewhere. It's a field. I don't know.
The landscape of
But
something.
yeah, yeah. We were looking back at albums. We had an inspiration back to Pink Floyd. Uh, Wish You Were Here. We talked a lot about, and also some Toto records like Fahrenheit. And then kind of it developed in this way, and yeah.
You guys are signed to Escape Music for the release of the album. How did the deal go down?
This is really a question for Erik here. He took care of most of that. We went out to a number of companies there, and we got a lot of interest. But it felt right with Escape, and we have we have great communication with them today, so it feels good.
Definitely known. The label is definitely known for its melodic rock catalog. You know,
Yeah.
looking back at the artists, you got Steve Overland from FM, and you got his side projects. You got a bunch of guys that came up in the 80s and the early 90s on that label.
The owner of that company, he has a lot of connections in that British old school AR.
What are the plans for Daytona to play live?
Yeah, I think as a band, you need to play live. It's that's really the point of being a band, is to prove yourself in front of an audience. So of course there are plans now for next year. We are booking stuff right now. We will see where we end up, but we hope to get out there on some festivals maybe, and show that we are the real deal actually. So it's not a studio project. We are all seasoned musicians. It's gonna show. It has to show.
Now, speaking of festival season, I noticed that this past festival season, you were out playing some shows with Air Raid, which
Yeah.
is a different sound than Daytona. It's more of a classic heavy metal, thrashy sound. How did those shows go?
It was I think it was 5 years since we last stood on stage with Air Raid. So we went on tour 2019 with Vicious Rumors. That was our last tour. And then our first gig on this tour was the Rock Hard Festival, which was a couple of thousand people. So nice setting there, a lot of people. But it was like just an old machinery just kicking in it.
Are you working on new music with Air Raid?
Uh, yeah, a little bit. I think Andy is working a bit on that, and I got some stuff, lying around, some riffs and stuff. We'll bring it together when we're ready, basically. So always quality first when it comes to Air Raid, and I think that should be a motto for anyone really, to put quality before, we have to put out a record every year or so.
A lot of guys working on several different projects. So yeah, you want the quality to be there for each project that you're working on.
Yeah.
So the other project you work on, yeah, OKUSARU.
Yeah.
They're celebrating 15th anniversary next year, 2025. From what I understand, there is a new album and a special tour on the way.
Yeah, there are some shows booked for next year, and the album is very much on its way. That's as much as I can say, I think. But it's coming. and I think it's gonna hit. I think it's gonna hit harder, a bit harder than Starbound. So Starbound is like a, you know, still some more AOR-ish songs there, but I think this one is going to hit a little bit slight harder edge, I think. So it's fun times in all camps.
Earlier this year, you appeared on Oz's solo project Rendezvous. What are
Yeah.
the chances of a FREDRIK WERNER solo project?
There are, of course, songs that I have that doesn't fit in to any of these bands I'm currently in. But I really don't have the time to do this in the the future, which I can see as of now. But we'll see. I put all my energy into Air Raid, OKUSARU, Daytona. These are all three bands which I feel are they're pieces of me in somewhat the same realm, but still three unique sounds. And I think for me, it's a good representation of me as of now. But we'll see in the future.
Well, before I let you go, I wanted to know how you guys settled on the name Daytona.
Yeah, that was also something we discussed a lot. But we basically had a list of names, which we boiled down, and Daytona came up. It's kind of, we wanted a name like, you got Boston, you got Chicago, you got those kind of names. We got the Swedish band Houston also. And so Daytona came up. I thought it felt cool. It also had a little bit of racing feel to it also. So a little bit of an action-packed name in that sense. Yeah, and we settled with that name. I think it suited the music fine.
Is there a city named Daytona in Sweden?
No, I don't think any Swedish places would suit an hard rock AOR band, really.
They'd be
Maybe
more like
there'll
dance
be a lot
music.
of those, dots over the O's and A's, and so more if you were a black metal band, maybe you can find some good names.
Or maybe some of the towns would be more suitable for dance music and techno and stuff like that.
Maybe.
Well, FREDRIK, those are all the questions I have for you today. The new Daytona album comes out on October 25th. It's called Garder La Flamme or Garder La Flame, or the French pronunciation, Garder La Flamme.
Yeah, good enough.
From Escape Music. And it's a fantastic album, and I wish you the best of luck with it. And thanks for talking to me today about it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Once again, I want to thank FREDRIK WERNER of Daytona for coming on the Rock is George podcast. Their latest album, Garder La Flame, Garder La Flamme, your guess is good as mine, is out on October 25th through Escape Music. Head over to your favorite music streaming platform, take a listen to what's available. If you like what you hear, buy a physical copy, support the artist. For all things Daytona, head over to their official Facebook page, /Daytona Music Official. I also want to thank Elio Bordi of Scream for Existence PR for making this interview possible. You've been great. I've been George Dionne. Discover your next favorite artist on the Rock is George podcast.